What's up, everybody? It's Leo.
And I'm Josh.
Man, today it was a long season. It was an 18-week season, right? It's crazy, man. Yeah, so man, today we're gonna talk about the Saints, man, and I guess your initial reaction to the season being over. You know, what things you think they can improve on, and just all that type of shit, man.
Yeah, this year was probably, if it could happen, it happened kind of thing. Or if it was something that you could think of and things you couldn't think of between COVID outbreaks, hurricane evacuations, Jesus, core injury, historic level of starter injuries, 58 injuries at least to starters, which is crazy. And we still finished with the 9-8 record, which is possibly the best achievement a head coach could have in the NFL with this much attrition and everything. But yeah, mostly the biggest thing I saw from this year was that we were able to maneuver an organization and create continue the winning atmosphere without Drew Brees. And I think that was a huge thing that we didn't know really as an organization we continue, because even though Sean's the head coach, he's always kind of been one of the guiding forces, at least for the players, kind of as a someone they can always look up to and say, okay, he's putting in this much work. What do I need to be doing to raise my level and everything? And they maintain that level pretty well throughout the whole thing. There's a couple of games where there's some mental lapses and all that, but it's really hard to put that on anybody with all the to really what I'm trying to say to to really to really blame many players with all the other things going on, all the stress from COVID and all the different situations, and then playing new positions that they haven't played in a while, bringing in guys getting fitted for jerseys and then starting that same week when it was against Miami. There's just a lot of difficult situations that continue to come up. But coming out of it, as I said, it was probably as good as you can expect. Offensively, it was bad, but mostly, I mean, I think the only place that they didn't do a great job of identifying preseason was the receiving room. They seem to have a higher view of it, and maybe if Mike Thomas comes back, I mean, probably if Mike Thomas comes back, it's a different outcome. But what it comes down to is that they didn't evaluate it the way, and they didn't put in safeguards to where if Mike wasn't able to come back or the state comes back and re-injures it, there was no safeguard. And they tried to tell us that Marquez Callaway was going to be the guy right away, and that really didn't happen. He had a good year. It was just a slow, like he did last year, where he got better throughout the year. But there's a lot of things to fix on offense, which is probably a good thing because we haven't had that in so long. It should be really interesting to watch as a Saints fan moving forward, looking at quarterback, receiver, backup running back, tight end, possibly another tackle if Teron Armstead leaves. There's a lot of different places that they could fix on the offense. Anything offensively you've seen, Leo, that that kind of took your got your attention based on what they did this year?
I mean, it was like you said, bro. First of all, I think it was a I mean, as odd as it is to say, it was a successful season when you think about all the shit that they had to go against. You know what I mean? So the fact that they really, really finished, above 500, and really almost made the playoffs if it wasn't for, the Rams losing, to the Niners, But I think it was kind of a problem. I mean, it's interesting because I feel like you could say that in the past few years that they could have upgraded the receivers also, and it wasn't kind of like just something that just randomly happened once Mike Thomas went down. I think it was just once Mike Thomas went down, it was no longer something that you could kind of gloss over. You know what I mean? So definitely think that receiver is something that should be done. And but I mean at the same time, I mean I'm gonna just say I think defense is pretty much fine. like you
That's
know,
why I started with offense
yeah,
because it's much more in flux.
yeah.
There's
I mean,
not a ton
but
to say about defense.
yeah. I mean, you know, let's just get that out the way. The defense was not the problem here. You know, you have, you know, you talk like same thing you said. Teron Armstead, you know, does he stay or does he go? You know, I think the main thing is that y'all need more explosive receivers. Really, really. I mean, that's the first thing I think of because like Mike Thomas can make big plays and stuff down the field, but I feel like he's better when you kind of have him working in the intermediate to short, and then you know if he goes deep a couple times, you know that is what it is. But I feel like he's a chain mover. You know, you need someone to kind of just push the defense back to give him even more room to work. You know, and I think that should be pretty much, the main focus of the draft, at least in the first round, try to go get one of those high blue chip talents at receiver, and but I mean that said, like the quarterback situation is also kind of weird. I think at this point, the thing that you can kind of the most sensible and logical thing to do would be to bring Jameis back. You know what I mean, and give him another chance to play. And I mean, if he hurts himself seriously again, then I mean, then at that point, I feel like at this point in his career, can he stay healthy? He hasn't really had a really bad injury problem ever. You know what I mean? But I think at that point, then you could think about moving on. Once you've seen it, because I mean, y'all were 5-2, I think, when he went down, right? So I think
Right, correct.
there's no real reason to just trade like 3 years worth of first round picks to go get Deshaun Watson or like a Russell Wilson. And I don't think there's a real point. Maybe if you could get like a Derek Carr for like a second round pick, maybe. But I think the main thing is just to bring him back and just go get like Chris Olave or Burks or Garrett Wilson if he's there. I mean, Jameson Williams, if you want someone that can play, I guess immediately, who knows if he's going to be able to go, week one, but you know what I mean? So, yeah,
Right,
that's all I
right.
can say. Obviously, I think, too, like you said, I think running back is a spot that y'all can not necessarily upgrade because, I mean, you have Kamara, but I think y'all need a guy that is, can first of all maybe like a little bit more explosive, like long speed, and also just like a guy that can do the things that Kamara like not necessarily struggles with, but you know what I'm saying, bro. Like just
Yeah, you want to take those body shots. Like if you're doing
yeah,
a boxing analogy, you want to get the body shots off of Kamara because he took way too many carries where it was in between the tackles, one, two
yeah,
yard gains.
mm-hmm.
And that's gonna grind on a guy. He got through it, even though he missed some time this year, but he didn't make it all the way through without a season-ending injury. I thought that was a mini miracle on its own.
Yeah.
I think they definitely need a power back. I don't know if he necessarily has to have home run potential because that's when you get a big back with home run potential, it means you got to kind of draft him really high.
Ah, yeah,
You got
yeah.
to probably go second or third round, and I think there may be positions on like at tight end and receiver, and even maybe left tackle or
Yeah.
right tackle if Teron leaves that you need to kind of sure up. But yeah, looking over offensively, it was, even though we're saying it wasn't a bad year, it really was a bad year at Sean Payne's standard. So I think he's going to really, as long as he's here, I mean, that's a whole nother podcast, whether he'll be here or not. And
Mm-hmm.
all the rumors flying, I think a lot of it is not really misinformed. There's definitely some to it because of the sources, but I don't know if it's how close to being a reality it is. But
Yeah.
getting back to the offense, oh, you're going to say something?
No. I'm just
Okay. Yeah. So I think through the offense, it's not, if you just focus on fixing the passing game and in that same time, maybe adding another backup running back that's maybe a veteran, maybe not, maybe a young guy that's just a physical guy like the running back out of BYU.
Mm-hmm.
If you took approach that way, you could probably fix this offense in a way that they're a Super Bowl contender. Because, like you mentioned briefly, the defense is already Super Bowl level. Like it's probably the most consistent and most well by the end of the year was the most well communicated defense in the NFL. They just seemed to just squeeze and just squeeze the life out of you like an anaconda a little bit. And they probably had the least amount of room for error because of how bad the offense was by the end of the year and how often they were on the field. I'm sure by the numbers, it's not even close in terms of the disparity. Maybe Denver, because they had a good defense, but even Denver's offense was probably better than ours by the time the year ended.
Yeah.
That's kind of where it is. On defense, the only positions that you kind of have to look at for the future, possibly losing Quan if he gets a big offer somewhere else. There's a need at D tackle to add more quality depth there. Besides Animata, he's kind of the only one, and when he was gone, there really wasn't much punch inside on the pass rush, which is even more amazing how good the defense played without a real pass rush for the first 6 games. And in those first 6 games, they beat New England and Green Bay, like handedly, and just blew both teams out. I think the biggest position of need on defense will probably be safety, depending on if Malcolm retires and if Marcus leaves. Marcus on the franchise tag, Marcus Williams, who's probably the best center fielder, safety, the most range in the NFL right now. I think after they invested last year, I don't believe that they are going to let him just walk. I think if anything, they'll sign to a franchise tag and then trade him to maybe recoup some assets that they might have to give up for acquiring a quarterback. I kind of view the quarterback kind of outside of the offense because it's almost like the second in command underneath the head coach. So when you're looking at the quarterback, like he talked about, we don't have to go complete deep on this because we can do another pod on it. But I sort of agree with the fact that you should probably run with Jameis here. But the problem is you can't find yourself where you're having to start Taysom again in week 6. And it's not fair to this defense and this quality of roster, really, overall. In terms of offensive line, running game, I assume they're going to fix the passing game. I just can't see a Sean Payton-led team or even the Saints going in to another year and not having an offense that can do it. But looking at quarterback, I just think there's a lot of fire surrounding Russell Wilson. And he's recently said he wanted to look at other options after he said he planned on being there. It's just a lot of political bullshit that he's good at. He slides one way, slides the other. So we'll see. I think there's going to be a lot of teams looking for quarterbacks. So I'd be surprised if we got one of those top guys just because we're one of those teams that don't really like to outbid other teams. We're more of looking for the perfect deal. We've never really given up a ton in the draft. I guess we have for Marcus Davenport was the one situation, but that seemed to work out well now. We seem to go bargain bin shopping. So some of the bargain bin shopping guys, because I really don't think you're going to get Russell for less than like 3 firsts and a player or something at this point, which is kind of on the edge of what you'd be okay with giving up. I think some of the bargain bin guys are, like you said, Derek Carr could potentially be available if he doesn't like the head coaching hire in Vegas. I almost called it Oakland. And then there's also guys like Jimmy Garoppolo that might be interesting in a different offense where he seems very rigid in this offense. He seemed more relaxed when he played in New England. I wonder if it's the strictness of Shanahan's kind of a very like simplified. You got to go mechanically this to this to this, which is why some of these other quarterbacks that he's plugged in have done pretty well, like a Nick Mullins and a CJ Beathard. They haven't been great, but they haven't been garbage because it's a very quarterback-friendly system. So I wonder if he needs kind of a different approach to the position. He'd be able to get that in New Orleans. So it'd be fascinating to see. I think those are the options. I think the easiest and the cheapest option really would be to go, you sign Jameis to another year and you draft a quarterback as well. It may be first round, maybe second, maybe third. I mean, depends what you see in this draft.
I mean,
but that may be the way to kind of hedge your bet on Jameis. And then let's say Jameis comes out and kills it next year, like I could easily see him do with how he was playing when he got hurt. Like his game in Tampa was legitimately going to be special before he got hurt. He had already 4 carries, 40 yards. It was like 4-6 for 60 yards and a touchdown passing, and hadn't made a single turnover worthy play against a really good Tampa defense at that time. So I think it's a good idea to hedge one way or the other with a backup plan. You can't go back in with Taysom. It's just not fair to the rest of the team.
Yeah.
I mean, Taysom's a decent backup quarterback, but not for this roster, not for a Super Bowl ready roster like this that we could potentially flip and be looking at as the best team in the NFC next year. I know it's very homerish, and I'm sure I'll get crap for this, but I just think the roster, based on all these injuries and the way we handled the Packers at the beginning of the year and what we did to the Patriots and kind of way we beat Tampa twice with backup quarterbacks, and it just kind of shows you that this team is built in a different way and has been invested on the lines in the way that a lot of these teams haven't.
It's not. I don't think it's that bad. It's not that crazy to say that, man. Because I mean, y'all won 9 games. I mean, hell. All right, so y'all started off 5-2 with them. Y'all won 9 games. You know, I mean,
right.
I mean, hell. Tampa Bay won 11 games. They were 2 games better than y'all. You know, San Francisco, you know, looks like they can possibly go on a run. They won 9 games, so I don't think it's that far off to say that you know they are a Super Bowl roster. You know, y'all have a lot of talent in the premium positions. You know, so I don't think that's homerish at all. But yeah, you bring up a good point about Jimmy G. I feel like people give him so much shit for what's going on there, and I think you might be right. I never really thought about it like that. Maybe it is the offense that holds them back, you know. And then, you know, I mean, Kyle Shanahan seems like he's one of those guys where if you do go off script and he doesn't feel it was necessary, he probably like, you know, I mean, I don't know, dude. I just feel like it's kind of he can kind of be like a hard ass, you know.
He's not the most. I mean, neither is Sean Payton, but Sean will kind of allow you to grow within a system a little bit. He'll tailor it a little more. I think Shanahan kind of has a system. He picks his quarterback to fit that system. It's a little more rigid. It's not as like, okay, I'm going to address this quarterback's best qualities, and I'm going to go from there.
I mean, unless he has a running quarterback and then he fucking puts him in the pistol and damn runs QB power like a motherfucker. But that's a whole other story.
Yeah. That was like the one situation where he was with Griffin where he did a great job taking advantage of his skill set.
Yeah.
But besides that, it's kind of been my way or the highway, and that's really kind of been the way Shanahan's been. The whole family and lineage of them with Kubiak and everybody. It's kind of look for a specific kind of quarterback.
Yeah. So I guess like just to kind of wrap everything up, like the main things we're talking about is upgrading receiver. I mean, now here's a thing too that you know when we talk about going after like a premium quarterback like a Russell Wilson, I mean, I hope you wouldn't have to give up a first for Derek Carr, but you probably would. You know, and same with Jimmy G. I mean, I think you could probably get away with probably a second for Jimmy G just based off of that. I mean, I feel like you should be able.
At this point, I think all these quarterbacks go for at least 1 first. When Stafford goes for 3 firsts, right?
Yeah,
Was that true?
Yeah.
I mean, these guys are going to go for at least 1.
I mean, it
may be the smart, like you said, maybe smart to stay with Jameis because how much better are these guys than Jameis?
Really? Yeah. I don't think that they really are better than him. You know, and I mean, people kind of the thing that people kind of the reason why people think he sucks is because, or you know, people give him shit for that 30 interception year, and they're not looking at you know the system that he was in, and they're not looking at Bruce Arians didn't really change shit to make it easier for him like he did Brady. You know, I mean their offense doesn't look the same like that. That offense, like obviously, you know. I mean, whatever. Like their offense kind of, you know, they're not taking as many shots as they were. It was not as vertical now as it was.
Right. Yeah,
you know?
I mean, the biggest story is they went through that whole year and Arians was just MFing him up and down the sideline every turnover. But then you go fast forward a year and it starts going bad with Brady. They're about 7-6 halfway through the year or something weird.
And they change everything.
And they completely hand the reins over to Brady and just like kiss his ring and say, okay, please take us to the promised land and then all this shit. I mean, really, Brady didn't play great at the end. He just was smart enough to know that he wasn't playing well and started running the ball, started throwing quick passes to the guys so they could just make plays after the catch, that kind of stuff. Just rolling and like depending on their defense, which was great that year.
Yeah, yeah.
So
So
I think Tampa is a really good team and all, but I totally agree that Jameis wasn't given the full
yeah, I mean,
repertoire that.
and I mean, they also picked. They got one of the best damn right tackle. Well, I mean, at this point, it's he's definitely top five, top three right tackles in the league. They got Tristan Wirfs, so obviously that made I mean, I'm not saying that he that would have made Jameis not throw 30 picks, but I mean, hell, I mean, it definitely could have helped. I mean, so
Yeah,
I mean,
I think part of it, Brady also elevates his linemen by how
yeah.
quickly he gets the ball out and everything. Same way Drew Brees did.
Yeah, but I mean,
Yeah.
the dude he's at the end of the day, he's an all pro. You know what I mean? So shit, I mean,
Yeah.
damn, I mean, he has a little bit more to work with than Jameis. I'm not saying that they would win a Super Bowl. That with Jameis, how they did with Brady, but I mean, damn, like give him a chance. I think that if you give him Chris Olave, you know what I'm saying, and give him a little bit more talent with the scheme that y'all are running, he could easily, I mean, y'all would have been an 11-win team. I think. I don't
Oh
think
yeah.
that's crazy to
If
say.
we're well, the truth is, if we have a kicker, probably
Yeah,
we're
yeah.
challenging with all the kicker issues we had. If all we had was a decent kicker, to say we had Will Lutz the whole year,
Mm-hmm.
we're probably challenging for the division. I mean, I hate to say it, and it's like really arrogant to say when you're 9-8 and the Bucks are who the Bucks are, but when we dominate the Bucks twice, you have that tiebreaker, and just it kind of makes sense with how we lost in these games.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. So I don't think I think the most sensible thing to do if you could get Jimmy G or Carr for a second round pick, which I don't think Oakland will, but maybe based off of how he performs in the next couple weeks, maybe you could get that. Maybe a second and a third, second and a fourth. Maybe you could get that to San Francisco. Maybe they're ready to move on and give Trey a shot. And you know, I mean, who knows? But who knows how high his stock really is? I don't know. I mean, but there's other teams like who Pittsburgh probably is in the market. You
Well,
know.
Pittsburgh's already come out and said they wanted to go the rookie route, so we'll
Oh,
see how
okay.
that goes. Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
Well, I
So
mean,
they kind
shit.
of
But
start over.
before that, everybody was saying that Tomlin doesn't want a rookie. I mean,
Yeah, right.
we don't know what the hell they're really gonna do.
Yeah.
So maybe they feel like they're a quarterback away. You know,
Yeah, and I think. Oh, sorry. Go ahead.
in their line, they need to work on their line. But I mean, maybe, you know, God bless who's ever back there. What I mean, with that line, I mean, who knows, man. But I think the best thing like I could say is like, I mean, you have to address the left tackle situation. I feel like, man, you kind of. I don't think that y'all. If I was y'all, I would sign back. I would try to find a way to bring back Armstead. Simply because just how close you are. I mean, obviously, you're gonna have to have backups just in case people go down. But I feel like I don't think you let him leave right now, especially if you bring Jameis back.
Yeah, I keep hearing that this is like his final big payday and all this stuff about that, where he's going to need to get his money this time. I think the Saints have been so creative in the past with their contracts and everything. There's got to be a way that you can keep a guy that obviously loves the city of New Orleans and loves the atmosphere here. There's got to be a way that you can structure incentive-based contract that allows him to say, okay, if I'm able to maintain my body and I play a decent amount of games, let's say he plays 3/4 of the games this coming year, I get to certain like elite tackle level money. The problem is when you sign a guy like that, you also have to dedicate a certain amount of money. It's like you're getting malpractice insurance or something as a doctor. You got to have that extra case where you're going to say, okay, when he gets hurt, because it's going to happen. That's just that's just certain guys that big, that fast, that explosive. Their bodies can't really handle the force of the game. And a lot of times it's been freak stuff. Like this year, he got his arm stuck in between a running back trying to pass block next to him. Like it was just dumb shit where the guy got off of him and his arm got caught over there.
Yeah.
So it's just, you never know.
But
He just kind of has bad luck.
but it's like I'm saying too though, like I just said, bro, like, I mean that you're gonna need a backup tackle anyway. You're gonna need that.
30 years old. Yeah.
Yeah, I would rather spend a mid round pick on a tackle that can sit and work, and like if he has to play, then play. Especially in, I mean, there's a lot of there's a lot of high end talent in this draft. Like the draft might kind of like, okay, you're not gonna maybe find like a Charles Cross in the third round, but shit, maybe you could find someone that I mean, you know how the draft is, and you know how.
Yeah, and we've done a good job of identifying guys that are developmental
Yeah,
prospects
yeah.
later in the
So,
draft.
so yeah, bro. I would say just because of how close y'all are, you have to address the receiver position, and what I mean, you have to. It might even be worth spending the top two picks on it just to get that explosiveness back, just to make sure that if Jameis is the guy next year, which he probably will be, that y'all can put him in a good position to win. You know.
Yeah.
Because like you need people that can get. I think Callaway is good, but like when everybody is like, and I mean Harris is there. I mean, how many games did Harris play this year?
He played a good amount of the year. He
Okay.
he had a couple of games because of the DUI thing that came down. He lost 3 games because of that. But
Yeah.
besides that, there were only a couple other games he missed.
Yeah. I mean, at this point, bro, I just feel like
I can't even remember because every team, every player missed games.
yeah.
Half the roster was out of the year. I mean, I don't.
If you could put him, Chris Olave, or Garrett Wilson and Mike Thomas on the field at the same damn time, I mean, that's a formidable, like I'd say that's probably one of the better, and assuming that Chris Olave or whoever the fuck y'all get performs close similar to how they were in college, which I mean, when you look at how young receivers are playing now, that's not too much of a stretch to say. I mean,
Yeah.
I think that definitely puts y'all back. I mean, that would be one of the more formidable Saints receiver cores like in the last 5 to 6 years. You know what I mean? So
yeah. The best receiving core we had recently was the Cooks, Thomas, Willie Sneak group, and it would definitely push that if we're able to add that element. I think tying it up, I think we agree that you have to address playmaker. You also the one thing that's kind of interesting. This is the first time you're going to see Sean and the Saints organization really have to focus on the passing game. They kind of did it 2 years ago when they brought in Jared Cook and Emmanuel Sanders to kind of help out with. And luckily we brought him in because they saved the day when Mike went down with his injury 2 years ago. But that's a different thing when you're getting like long-term pieces. It's going to be the first time they've done it and really had to since like 2006 when they kind of reinvented the whole thing and Sean came in. Like since then, there really hasn't been a big shift offensively like this.
Yeah.
So it's really fascinating to watch.
Y'all have always been able to find guys that can come in and feel and play well, and not have to spend high picks on it. But I feel like at this point, I think it's about time because, I mean, unless Tyler Linderbaum is there, or which he won't probably be. I mean, maybe
that would be the most Saints pick ever. It's just another guard, it's another center guard, whatever, another offensive lineman.
I mean, damn, but I mean, at this point, I mean, how many damn all-pro type tackles do you fucking need at this? I mean, I don't know. I mean, obviously, they're like.
Well, that's a little. How do you say this? Like what's the phrase people use anyway? This is kind of the little thing in the background that Saints fans are thinking about is the interior offensive line with Cesar Ruiz, McCoy, and Pete. Pete was out most of the year. He played well when he was there. Ruiz was kind of a dumpster fire because he just was out there by himself. It was a lot of times McCoy wasn't playing. So can those 3 guys settle down and really play well together? I have a feeling that if they're able to maintain Ryan Ramczyk's knee, that's what kind of bothered him all year. The 3 guys in the middle kind of settle in together. I think it'll all kind of work out Me personally, I'm more of a thought that I think Ruiz should be the center. You should move McCoy out to guard, just based on physical attributes. I think McCoy's a little faster, would be better at pulling and all that, and a little stronger at the point of attack. I think it has the agility you need to beat the guys to the block and all that. But besides that, I mean, it's just going to be interesting. The two things: can you maintain the defense the way it is, and can you improve the passing game?
Yeah.
That's what it'll come down to. And inside of that is the quarterback, and they've got to make the one big calculation they have to make is how much better is the options available. How much better are they than having Jameis in there or bringing in a rookie with Jameis? Like, you have to decide, is it worth how many first round picks, and how do we evaluate Jameis based on what we saw? Because they know better than anyone based on what they saw in the locker room and everything. And everything I've heard is he was great, but you don't know until they get down, and Sean's not gonna bullshit himself. This is like a big deal for him, where he's moving on, trying to find the successor to Drew. So it's a really going to be a fun off season, guys. We're going to keep putting out videos of draft prospects we like, stuff like that, different ideas that come up. I'm sure there'll be some staff shakeups going on the Saints roster, kind of down on the coaching roster as it goes down the schedule, where head coaches are picked and then they start trying to fill in their offensive coordinators and defensive coordinators, similar to last year when we lost Dan Campbell, and then lost Aaron Glenn and all the different stuff. So if you guys if you subscribe and like and share and all that stuff, we really appreciate it. And we're going to keep working throughout the off season with y'all.
Yes, sir. All right, everybody. Like Josh said, like, share, and sub, man, and we appreciate it, man. Thank y'all.
All right, y'all take care.